What's going on, everybody, and welcome to this week's Smackdown recap. And as always in these recap videos, we go over everything you need to know about this important episode of WWE. I give my thoughts on the show, and at any point in the video, you guys can leave me your thoughts down in the comments below. But as always, before we get anywhere into any video, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload. Go follow the socials. Links to those will be in the description of this video. That includes my Instagram account, my X account. Do all that helps me in a tub, and now it's to you guys straight on into this week's Smackdown recap. Alright, so we would kick off the show hot, man. So we would start it out in the parking lot area, where it was sort of the parking lot area with Drew McIntyre and Nick Aldis. So Drew McIntyre would pull up, he would get out of his truck, and then Nick Aldis would be right there with security guards. He tells Drew to get out of here. He says it was the same before War Games, where you were suspended, and it's going to stay the same now. Drew McIntyre says that, hey, I'll go home, but only because I want these guys, meaning the security, to go home safely. So kind of a threat, kind of like foreshadowing that he most likely would have kicked security's ass, but he says tonight he's gonna go. And then he gets back in his truck, but then the camera moves over a little bit and we see Cody Rhodes right on the other side of the door. They start brawling, and then inevitably Cody Rhodes is, he's grabbed out of Drew McIntyre's truck, and then Drew drives off. And then Cody is kind of, he's furious. He marches out to the ring, and pretty much what he tells Drew and Nick Aldis, he says, Nick, reinstate McIntyre. He attacked me where my family sleeps, where my daughters are, and pretty much where my whole family is, which obviously meaning his tour bus, which Drew attacked him there before War Games. So, and then he says that Drew McIntyre is pretty much WWE's resignated cockroach, because he's pretty much always at his feet. And Cody Rhodes says that he wants to do what anybody would do when they see a cockroach, and that is stomp him out. And then that was it, man. So honestly, we've seen this feud before, but we also knew this was still coming. At least I did. I knew this was still coming, that we are going to get Cody versus McIntyre again. Most likely this time around is going to be when Drew McIntyre actually takes the title, but I am liking that we're seeing a more furious side of Cody. Yes, we've seen that already in this feud, but I feel like there was a little bit more to this one. So I actually like this. I think this was cool. I get that maybe people are going to think it's overused, and maybe it is, but I actually like this. So for me personally, I think this was pretty cool, pretty good opener, and obviously can't wait to see this match again. I think they should put on a banger match, and obviously this time around we should actually get a title change, which will be cool, and we'll see how that works out. But yeah, overall, I think this was a pretty solid opener, and for the most part, man, I really enjoyed this one. Alright, so now we jumped in to Ilya Dragunov versus Carmelo Hayes for the United States Championship. Overall, solid matches you can expect. It's a United States Open Challenge. These matches really always hit, even though maybe some are better than others. None of them are actually terrible. This one was not terrible. It was pretty good, in my opinion, still. What happened, though, we got to the end, we would see Tommaso Ciampa. He would come in and interfere with Carmelo Hayes. The ref would not see it, and Ilya Dragunov was able to pick up the win off of the distraction from Tommaso Ciampa. So, what comes of this? It's either going to be triple threat with Ilya versus Carmelo versus Tommaso, or Tommaso's actually going to finally get his one-on-one opportunity. We'll have to wait and see. I could definitely see the triple threat happening, though, probably at Saturday night's main event. I would not be surprised if that is the case, which would be a really good match in my opinion. But yeah, that's really all you got to know, because other than that, it's pretty much just a normal US Open Challenge match. Ilya Dragunov, though, would retain. Tommaso would interfere. That's really all you got to know here. Alright, now we would jump into Alexa Bliss versus Kairi Sane, and really, this was obviously, in my opinion, I think this was a solid match, but really the main importance is really at the end, so we're just going to skip right to the end. Like I said, solid match for the most part, in my opinion, but yeah, let's get to the end. So we get to the end here, and we would pretty much see a clean win by Alexa Bliss. For the most part, a clean win, and she would beat Kairi Sane. And keep in mind, obviously, Kairi Sane is one half of the Women's Tag Champions, because she is obviously involved with Asuka and the Kabuki Warriors, but she was pinned here, so I'm thinking that we're most likely going to get new women's tag champions very, very soon. Like, I'm talking possibly by Saturday night's main event, if they have a title match there, honestly. Like, because, I mean, literally, they had Kairi get pinned in a pretty clean way for the most part, man. So it definitely reveals a weakness, and reveals to me that, like I said, we're most likely to get new women's tag champions, like, relatively freaking soon, man. Like I said, probably potentially by Saturday night's main event, which is literally almost less, was it? Yeah, it's almost less than a week away. It's like a week and 1 day, I believe, away. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. But yeah, so Alexa wins. And then in the post-match, we would see Lash Legend and Nia Jax come out. They would pretty much wipe out the Kabuki Warriors, and they would stand tall with the titles. So pretty much what I get from this is, like I keep saying, we're most likely to get new women's tag champions, like, relatively soon. And I feel like those champions are going to be Nia Jax and Lash Legend, man. I mean, yes, I get Alexa Bliss, who is, partnered with Charlotte Flair and is involved in the women's tag team division, but I get that she won this, but still, I could really see Lash Legend and Nia Jax winning these, like I said, probably by Saturday night's main event, man, which is going to be awesome if that's the case. I think that is great. Honestly, I really don't really care to see the Kabukis as champions anyways. I think Nia and Lash make a better team for me personally, and could definitely, I would like to see them as champions is basically what I'm trying to say. So if that's the case, I think that's going to be awesome. Overall here, I think this was, as far as the match goes, it was solid. It just really, I feel like if you like this segment, it really just depends if you really care for the women's tag team champions, because if you don't, I mean, you pretty much could care less about this. But I actually think it was pretty solid as far as the match goes. And then, I mean, for the most part, it was okay. Towards the end, I mean, like I said, it's cool that we're possibly going to get new champions within the next week. And like I said, it's going to be cool if we do get Nia Jax and Lash Legend, but we won't know for sure until, obviously that time comes, if it does, But yeah, pretty much overall here, I do think this was overall solid. All right, now we would jump into something very boring and honestly something that nobody could really care about. Honestly, I mean, I know I don't care about it. I'm sure a lot of people would agree with that. So we jumped in Jade Cargill versus Alba Fire. You can already know who's going to win this match. You have Jade, who is newly a heel. She's been portrayed as this unstoppable force. Her gimmick is amazing, but this match obviously very predictable, very easy match for Jade. She gets the win, very easy, not long of a match at all. We see obviously Chelsea Green on ringside with Alba Fire. We see Julia come out. She attacks Chelsea Green. That distracts Alba Fire. Jade Cargill gets the win, and that's really all you got to know, honestly. Really not much to talk about here. Pretty boring, and they need to do something different with Jade Cargill, because whatever they're doing here, pretty lame in my opinion. I don't really like it, and whatever they're doing with that whole Julia stuff, still with Chelsea, I really could care less about that too. So overall, nothing good here. Really could care less. All right, now we would jump into Solo Sikoa and the MFTs. So they would come out and pretty much tell everybody that Sami Zayn is now in the review. The next focus is the Wyatt Six. Obviously, Solo and the MFTs, they did beat Sami Zayn's team in the classic Survivor Series Survivor Series match, elimination style match last week. After the match, the Wyatt Six would interfere. So what Solo has to say here about the Wyatt Six is he tells the Wyatt Six that last week I did not get to introduce myself. Most notably, he's really talking to obviously yes the entire Wyatt Six, but most notably Uncle Howdy himself. So he says he didn't get to interview. He didn't get to introduce himself last week, so he's going to now. So he says, I am Solo Sikoa. Do not forget that name. This is my ring. This is my family. This is my family tree. These are my people. This is my show. And then from there, he would say what he wants to take from the Wyatt Six. He says that you have something that belongs to my family, that being the tag team champions. He says he's going to make Uncle Howdy he's going to take everything that was once his. He points at the sky, obviously referencing from what it seems is obviously Bray Wyatt, and then he says he's going from what was once his, which is now yours. He's going to take everything from Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Six, and then he says that he's going to and then he tells Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Six that he's going to make them understand why he doesn't deserve the name Wyatt. So man, that was pretty heavy words there in my opinion. So, and he even brings up Bo Dallas's past with the whole Bo leave stuff. So I think that was pretty cool too. But man, he was some pretty good promo work from Solo there. Pretty good stuff. It's aggression, but also like really meaning and dark words at the same time, in my opinion. So I think that was very nice. Then we would see, as you can expect, the Wyatt Six do come out, and we have a brawl with the Wyatt Six and the MFTs and Solo Sikoa. So, and who stands tall here? It is going to be the Wyatt Six. They stand tall in the ring, and the MFT do scatter. They do run off. They do roll out. They do get out of the ring and get out of there. So. What's to come of this? Well, it's pretty much just like what we saw last week, but we get more of what are we looking forward to going into this? So it's going to be obviously one of the main focus is going to be the titles. Another main focus going to be pretty much making the Wyatt Six pretty much fall to the MFT type of thing. So pretty much trying to destroy their empire, as you can kind of expect. So that's pretty much what we can expect going into this feud. I'm hyped for it. I think it's going to be awesome. From what we saw tonight, it was pretty freaking awesome. So I can't wait to see what we get when it really gets going. So overall, I think this was a very awesome segment. All right, man, now we would jump into our main event of the night, which was the Last Time Is Now tournament finale, man. I gotta be honest, I think I overhyped myself just for the caliber of this match. I think this match was good. Obviously, it was Gunther versus LA Knight. I think this match was good, but I think I kind of overhyped it a little bit as just to, like, what the match would be. Not because of the winner, but just because of how the match, like, really, like, just everything that went into it. You know, I don't think the match was as good as I thought it was going to be. I'm not saying it was bad. I just think I personally overhyped it for myself. So that's kind of my own doing. But overall, I do think still it was a pretty solid match. It would end. We would see kind of like a STF type of move from Gunther, which would tap out LA Knight. So unfortunately, we will see Gunther versus John Cena. I say unfortunately because I would have preferred LA Knight. I mean, realistically, I don't think any of these guys should really be going on to John Cena's final match, but it is what it is. It's just how everything played out. Gunther versus Cena, I think that is definitely going to be a good match. I don't think I'm overhyping that in any sort of way. I think that is going to be a great match. And I mean, honestly, you kind of already like figured that was most likely going to be Gunther coming out on top here. It's really obvious. I mean, just thinking about the caliber of Gunther and looking at other stars in this tournament, it just kind of seems obvious that Gunther is to win this one. So Gunther does move on. He is going to face John Cena in a week and a day at Saturday Night's Main Event for John Cena's last match. Like I said, should be definitely a good match there. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But overall here, I think the match was still solid. The outcome, it's in question, but the overall tournament itself is honestly in question, low-key, not just this match itself. But overall, that's really all you got to know here. So John Cena is going to face Gunther in his last match. LA Knight does not move on, so it's going to be, you know, what's next for LA Knight, I really don't know right now. As far as Gunther, like I said, moving on for John Cena. And like I said, the whole tournament itself, not just this match, is really in question about just how good it really was. Alright, well, that is everything that you need to know about this episode of Smackdown. As always, I do hope you guys did enjoy. And just ranking this episode of Smackdown, I would say, I guess it's probably one of the better ones that we've seen, you know, in a good amount of time. But that's not to say it was still, like, a insane Smackdown. Like, definitely not better than any of the Raws that we've had recently. I mean, Raw is just overall such a better show, like, currently. But overall, I do think it was, you know, one of the better Smackdowns that we've gotten recently. But as always, be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. And as always, before we get out of here, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload. Go follow the socials. Links to those will be in the description of this video. That includes my Instagram account, my X account. Do all that helps me out a ton, and I'll catch y'all boys in the next one. Peace.